afternoon, my Real News Midday TV family. Welcome back to the channel. 2 cops are freed of 2013 murder of man in Central Village. 2 members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force who were charged 8 years ago for the 2013 execution-style killing of a man in Central Village, St. Catherine, were freed on Wednesday before the St. Catherine Circuit Court. Detective Constable Ricardo Johnson and the Constable David Williams were freed of the February 10, 2013 murder of David Saku in Big Lane, Central Village. The policemen were charged in 2017 following an investigation by the Independent Commission of Investigations into the controversial killing. Prosecutors had laid evidence that on the day in question, Mr. Saku was shot by the policemen and a firearm placed on him at his home in Big Lane, Central Village. This was based on an eyewitness statement from a relative who claimed he saw the killing. The relative claimed he heard explosions shortly after Mr. Saku went outside the dwelling to brush his teeth on the morning in question. The relative alleged that he witnessed the policemen standing over Mr. Saku and pumping bullets into his body. He added that he saw them placing an object into Mr. Suku's hand and firing 2 rounds. But at the scheduled trial on Wednesday, defense attorneys Christopher Townsend, Chadwick Berry, and John Paul Hamilton strongly challenged an application by the prosecutors to hear the matter via paper trial because the witnesses could not be located. Mr. Townsend argued that the policeman would be denied the right to confront the witness on his eyewitness statement. He further argued that the prosecution was well aware that the witnesses could not be located and was abusing the process by attempting to try the policemen via a paper trial. He also pointed to the 8-year wait for the policemen to go on trial. Following the submissions, the Crown agreed, and Justice Bertram Morrison entered a verdict of not guilty against the policemen. Man freed of charges in deadly Trelawney drive-by shooting. A man who was charged in connection with a deadly drive-by shooting incident in Trelawney was freed on Wednesday morning before the Trelawney Circuit Court. Shamir O'Connor was freed after his attorneys Christopher Townsend and Danny Gooden challenged the identification evidence submitted by prosecutors. Mr. O'Connor was charged in 2018 for the murder of Osheen Robinson in Stewart Town, Trelawney. Prosecutors led evidence that the deceased and another man had a dispute over money. On the day of the incident, he was allegedly lured to the area under the guise that he would receive his money, but he was attacked and shot by people in a motor car. The police were alerted, and the car transporting the armed suspects crashed during a police chase. Mr. O'Connor and his wife, who were passengers in the vehicle, were found with injuries at the scene of the crash. Another occupant fled from the vehicle. Mr. O'Connor was later charged after he was identified by the sole witness who was in the company of Mr. Robinson during the shooting. But at the trial, the defense challenged the identification evidence, insisting that there was no evidence to prove their client was involved in the killing. Following submissions, the prosecutors conceded and offered no further evidence in the case. Mr. O'Connor was then ordered released. Police disrupt a suspected prostitution ring at house in St. Andrew. The crackdown on the underground illicit sex trade is intensifying following a major disruption in what is believed to be a prostitution ring at a residential property along North Avenue in St. Andrew. Police confirmed that the illegal activities were being carried out under the guise of massage parlor. 5 women have been charged for breaches of the Public Health Act in connection with the raid. During the targeted raid on Tuesday, the police discovered that, along with the spa services being offered at the property, transactional sex acts were also being conducted during customer-client engagement. The women were found to be 19 to 31 years old. Detective Inspector Shamal Wisdom of the Police Specialized Operations Unit told the news that 6 women were initially taken into custody.
One of the females has since been released without any criminal charges. as investigations have revealed that she was hired in the capacity of a receptionist and she was totally unaware of the services that are being offered at the premises. The owner, whilst she had a license, it expired in 2022, and the other females that were found at the premises, none of them are trained in offering massage services, and none of them has a license to operate as a beauty therapist. We are investigating the owner of the premises for the offense of living off the earnings of prostitution. However, the evidence that is required to manifest proof of that charge has not yet been unearthed. It is clear that a brothel is being operated at the location.
Tax expert wants the government to restructure timing of income tax threshold increases. Tax expert Alison Peart believes the timing of the increase in the personal income tax threshold will create an administrative burden for accounting practitioners. Finance Minister Favour Williams, opening the budget debate for the new financial year in the House of Representatives on Tuesday, announced that the income tax threshold will be increased to $2 million over a 3-year period beginning on April 1. Ms. Peart, who is also Managing Director of Peart Advisory Services, argues that the government should allow changes to the personal income tax to take effect on the 1st of January. She says this would make the process easier and less confusing for people who want to figure out the amount for the year.
When you do it on April 1, it drives us all into a tizzy when we have to do the return, or we have to do your payroll taxes. Because if you note, moving the threshold 4 months into your year, so the government's year end is March 31, but when you are taxed, it's January to December. So when she says 1.7 million in April, it's not 1.7 for the year, it's for the 8 months. I love to take the politics out of tax, and it sounds more like, oh, to give, in an election year, you get it, and I prefer to have it linked to inflation because it is part of your pay, and your pay is eroded each year when the inflation comes out. So, that would be my ease of it. But looking at the amount, if you look at inflation from the last time, you really are right back at the 1.5 if you look at it.
Christiana man charged for shooting 3 people, 2 fatally, in Manchester bar attack. The police in Manchester have charged a man for the shooting death of 2 persons and the injury of another in an attack at a bar in 2024. Killed in the attack were 39-year-old businesswoman Tanisha Burton and the 74-year-old Wilford Mallison, both of Cricket District in the parish. 39-year-old Regine Bogle, a farmer of Christiana, is charged with 2 counts of murder, 2 counts of conspiracy to murder, wounding with intent, possession of a prohibited weapon, unauthorized possession of ammunition, and using a firearm to commit a felony. The police say Bogle, who was on the run since the attack occurred on Saturday, July 13, 2024, turned himself in on Monday, March 10, and was later charged following a question and answer session. Reports from the Manchester police are that about 10:10 p.m. on the day in question, Burton, Mallison, and another man were at a bar owned and operated by Burton when men armed with guns entered the establishment and opened a gunfire, hitting all 3. The gunmen then escaped on foot in the area. The police were alerted, and on their arrival, the injured persons were seen with gunshot wounds. They were taken to hospital, where Burton and Mallison were pronounced dead. Guys, thank you for watching. See you this evening at 6 p.m. for another news update.